Hello, my name is Father Jacob Rouse, and I'm the pastor of Notre Dame Parish in Cresco, Iowa. And for today's Corona Minute, I would like. Hold on. What? No, I can't. I'm busy. Bye. Sorry about that. Sorry. My name is Father Jacob Rouse, and I'm the pastor of Notre Dame Parish in Cresco, Iowa. And for today's Corona Minute, I'd like to talk about hell. I made a video about heaven, but I'd also like to. What? Oh, no. No, I don't want to eat dinner with Grandma. Bye. I gotta go. Bye. Okay. So what hell is, we think of it a lot of times in culture, but what hell is essentially is blocking out everything in the world, everything in existence, all good things, and just locking yourself in a room and staying isolated and pushing everyone away. Well, this is awkward. So, we have a lot of views in culture of what hell is like and what it looks like. There's different Gary Larson comics where it's people's personal hell. This is a really funny one where Ishtar, the movie Ishtar, is the only thing in the video store. Anyway, we think of it, what's your personal hell, or what's your punishment? What would your eternal punishment be? Well, it's not even that, because like I said in the heaven video, heaven is not your perfect pleasure like mountains of ice cream or the perfect day at the lake. Hell is the absence of all the source of goodness. Hell is basically self-isolation from God. It's separation eternally from God. We choose that through our actions. We choose. Hell is essentially a choice. Hell is a extension of God's love, because He will not force His forgiveness on us, and He won't force us to love Him. So He gives us the choice. If you don't want to be with me forever, then here you go. Christ talks explicitly about those who hate their brother, are not living in love, and they are murderers. Those who don't take care of the poor and the orphans and the sick and the imprisoned, showing mercy, showing and giving out forgiveness, a lot, is the nature of God. And so if our nature becomes more like that, then we are ready for heaven. But if we're hard-hearted and we're stubborn, or have certain views of people and label people, judge them, look down on them, racism, that's a nice one. Anytime we harden and turn our hearts away from being like God, then we're basically saying, I don't want to be with you, God. I want to stay in my own stubborn judgment. Hell is like leaving Thanksgiving dinner to go play video games in your room while all your family and loved ones are right there. The video games are going to break and your phone's going to run out of battery. It will not make you happy. We have what's called the sin against the Holy Spirit, which is the unforgivable sin. Jesus talks about that in Matthew 16, I think. I'll post it. Basically, that is saying, I don't want to be forgiven, God. So He won't force it on you, so you won't be. This is from the Catechism of the Catholic Church. We cannot be united with God unless we freely choose to love Him. But we cannot love God if we sin gravely against Him, against our neighbor, or against ourselves. To die in mortal sin without repenting and accepting God's merciful love means remaining separated from Him forever by our own free choice. This state of definitive self-exclusion from communion with God is called hell. That's too bad. Dante, the famous poet who wrote the Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso, depicts hell not as fire and not as torture, but Satan himself frozen in ice, and he keeps beating his wings, and that causes more cold air to blow around, which just freezes him over and over again. Because remember, Satan, who was Lucifer, light bearer, he was the greatest and the most beautiful and prettiest and had the best voice of all the angels. And then he said, you know what? I don't want to serve, I want to rule. And so, of course, that does not mix with the nature of God and the nature of a creature. So he was cast down to hell because he led a rebellion. So what sin is basically we are siding with Lucifer, siding with Satan, and saying, I know God is great and made me and I owe everything to God, but I'd rather seek my own, desires or things that are not God. But there's hope, because Jesus gives to Peter, says, I give you the keys to the kingdom. The gates of hell will not prevail against you. And I always thought when I was little, that was a cool military theme, like, oh, we're going to clash in battle and the gates of hell aren't going to prevail. But no, what do gates do? Gates are shut. Gates are stationary, and they stay there. We, along with Peter, are marching. We are the attackers. We are the invaders, and we are the ones who are aggressing the powers of hell and the world and sin and darkness and fear and peeling it apart, opening the door, calling people, answering the phone, and trying to bring in that uncomfortable, blinding but healing, beautiful light of God's grace. The more we do that and the more we march with Peter, the gates of hell, Jesus says, will not prevail. So there's still the choice to be separated eternally from God, but there's still hope even for, the worst sinner on earth. And I'm one of them. Judgment and anger and all that can still live in our hearts. So march with Peter and go to confession and go wash your hands. Bye.